G'day punters, here we are with the great man, David Gately, as we touched on the Manikato and Cox Plate weekend. Gator, how are you?
Well, just a bit of trepidation around the weather, but we'll play with the cards we're dealt, right?
Absolutely. And punters out there looking to get all of Gator's tips, staking plan, etc., you can head to thegreattipoff.com, search David Gately, click get tips package, and away you go. If you can't sort that out, you're an absolute mug. Righto, Gator, we're going to head to the Valley on Friday night for Manikato Stakes. There's a bit of rain about. The track, from all reports, is dry, good 3 range at the moment. They haven't watered it, but there will be plenty of rain coming. How do you see the track playing on Friday night?
Yeah, well, since they've renovated it, it's been real on pace inside, hasn't it? At pretty much every meeting, irrespective of where they put the rail. I go back to this weekend last year, and they were certainly off the fence by the time we got to the Cox Plate on the Saturday. So we'll see how things play out. But I don't think we need disadvantage early, but things might level up, and off the inside run-ons might get their chance.
Outstanding. There you go, punters, a bit of insight there. So we're going to go to the Manikato Stakes, Group 1 over the 1,200 metres. This is a sort of cracking race. Before we get into it, Gator, I've got a couple of questions for you, mate. So Bella Nipotina 3 wide, closed very, very hard, had no favours against a pretty obvious bias, now lines up against Coolangatta, Paulili. Can you see Paulili, Coolangatta competing with Bella Nipotina off that last run?
Yeah, I can. The differential being 1,200 metres, I think, is the real key for Paulili. It's not necessarily an advantage for Coolangatta. There's no reason to pot her at 1,200. She ran so well in the slipper, didn't she? So I don't think it's necessarily a negative. I just think it's advantage the others perhaps more. I don't think there's any doubt Bella Nipotina was clearly the best run in that race. But Paulili was outsped at the 1,000. He just run off his feet. He went to the 1,100 won well. But even going into that meeting, I had him on top in Paulili, but I think he's even a better horse at 1,200. So it's out of him and Bella Nipotina for mine. Big field, but it's got a tail to it. They're the two I've zeroed in on.
Enormous. And you referenced Coolangatta there. We've got Best of Bordeaux coming down from the Sydney from Mines. A horse was probably flattened out this prep and isn't going as good, but did manage to be competitive against Coolangatta. Do you think a horse like Best of Bordeaux or a horse like Jamea from Sydney is any chance of lobbying the placings?
I like Jamea, certainly as a back-end sprinter. I'm not sure the Valley is going to be her track, but, Patton will be king with her. We know where she'll be in the run. Best of Bordeaux, look, he's not a star, but he's very, very genuine. He'll certainly go forward and either sit on Coolangatta or lead outright. And even when he comes under pressure, he just keeps responding. He's very brave. He's not Vogue, but he gives his all. And if it's an on-pace track, all of a sudden he's in the conversation. But the others probably have a little bit more class than him.
Outstanding. So we saw Bella Nipotina SP $21. We're getting around the $5.50 mark. Who's on top for you in the Manikato and maybe your top 3 selections?
Yeah, look, I just leaned to Paulili slightly over Bella Nipotina. Not much in it. Look, she left him behind there, but as I say, that was 1,000 metres. I think 1,200 it's advantage Paulili, but I have to take her run at face value, irrespective of the price. She was enormous, and she was a very good winner prior to that as well. So she's airborne for the stable. Rothfire into 3rd. He was luckless in that race at a key stage as well. So he was my 3rd top rater. Yep.
Outstanding, mate. There you go, punters. And always good to cover the feature races on the card. But I'll tell you what punters really want is winners, Gator. What have you got for us for Friday night as your best bet?
Yeah, look, I'm going with Taunting. I think he's a really good, strong, short course sprinter. At 9.55, I don't get much shorter. He'll be right on speed. He can run time. I think he can absorb the pressure there and hopefully win for us. We'll make him the best on the 8 race card.
Outstanding. There you go, punters. That's Taunting race 5, number 3. And we're getting around the $3 mark there, punters. So chime in there. Righto, we're going to go to Saturday, see how much rain we get, and that'll be very interesting how the track will play. The rail will remain in the true position. We see the champ, Animo. We won't touch on last year. We all know what happened. Hard done by. But question for you before we go into who you like on top. Speed map. We've got Alligator Blood Barrier 12, bit of question marks this morning. Mick Price has come out and said, I'm thunderstruck. They're going to go forward. You've got Zaki. Annabelle's on record as saying she wants to see a high-pressure 2,040-metre race here. How do you see the speed map unfold? Is it just advantage Animo if that plays out?
Look, it certainly was at Caulfield. They wound it up early. And although he was left behind and didn't get around the turn all that well, he still picked them up. And you've only got to be in front at the end of the race. I think if he gets around the Caulfield track, he probably wins by a couple of lengths. So I think it is advantage him given where he maps. So he can just have the last crack at them. So Zaki's, I agree with Annabelle. I think it's his best chance of success. But they certainly played into Animo's hands last time, in my humble. I'm thunderstruck will need a bit of luck from the draw if they are going to press on. And what does El Bogadon do? He's been able to lead and come from last in races. So I'm not sure they're keen to show their hand, and why would you?
Absolutely. And do you think there's a bit of a market watching El Bogadon? Is it a scenario where if you see it crunch into $4, well, the writing's on the wall, and if there's a bit of a drift out to 10s, well, potentially not as good as we think it is?
Yeah, look, they tend to back them, these internationals that are lightly raced in this race, and obviously the Melbourne Cup as well. But, there was good money for Sir Dragonet. There was good money for State of Rest. Adelaide had good backing. They're all Northern Hemisphere 3-year-olds. He fits that profile. So I think that they'll definitely back him, because they'll think it's either Animo, who's probably got the wood on these off the might and power, or it's the one with some world-class form lines, and that's him.
It's interesting you touched on that. I had Animo rated career best rating last start off at what it did around Caulfield and probably around the turn. If it handles the valley, it definitely has a wood on these. I can't wait to see Zaki in a high pressure 2,040. And yeah, El Bogadon, there you go, punters. The tip is get on early if you want it, because the price will crunch. Right, Gator, give us your top three for the race, mate.
Yeah, look, I'm with Animo. I thought he was beatable in the might and power, given he was 3 weeks between runs, third up off a lameness issue. But no, he picked him up anyway, and he did it despite not getting around the final turn. So how do they turn the tables on him, all things being equal? Struggling to see how they do. So, into his grand final here, Stable openly said he'd be better for that win, lose or draw. So taking that at face value as well. Animo on top. Zaki Gate 1's a big plus if the rail's still okay by race 17 over 2 days. If it's off, problem. El Bogadon for third, and I think they're the only 3 that can win it.
Outstanding. And your best bet on Cox Plate Day?
Well, I went with Animo. So, race 9, the big one. We'll make him our best for the day. Our value play, I think, was My Whisper in the last. So she's been taken in from double figures, but I think she's ready to run well at a backable price.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. And punters, for what it is worth, my best is going to come up in race 3, number 6, Shalailed. So worth $1 on that. Gator, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck. As I said in the beginning, punters, if you want to get Gator's staking plan tips for all around the country, jump on thegreattipoff.com, search David Gately, click get tip package, and away you go. Thanks, Gator.
Thanks, Mick. Great work.